Yes, sir.
You talk about frustrations. Peel back the curtain for us, since you're in a first row vantage point with the president. What are his frustrations right now? And secondly, a big decision that's going to be upcoming is the Fed chair position, possibly here in the next few weeks or upcoming months. Where does that stand? How actively is the administration engaging that at this moment?
One of his frustrations is you, all of you, not all of you, but many of you. As I said, when I first started talking, again, I'm a reasonable guy, but when I read in the morning, I read I won't tell you what I read, but and watch TV in the morning, it is astounding to me how much is misreported. I will give you the benefit of the doubt that you are operating off of contacts, leaks, whatever you call them. But I would just offer to you the advice. I'd say, maybe develop some better sources. Some person that works way down inside an office, or just develop some better sources. The Congress has been frustrating to him. Of course, our government is designed to be slow, and it is. His sense, I think, as a man who is outside of the Washington arena, a businessman, much more of a man of action. I would say his great frustration is the process that he now finds himself, because in his view, the solutions are obvious. Whether it's tax cuts and tax reform, health care, infrastructure programs, strengthening our military. To him, these all seem like obvious things that need to be done to protect the American people, bring jobs back. These are all the things that he sees as vital to protect the American people, to advance American economy and whatnot. And the process is so slow and so hard sometimes to deal with. So I think those two things.
JR for Liberty Writers News reports President Donald Trump sent a tweet out this week asking Congress to change a law allowing the NFL organization's tax-exempt status. Of course, this has to do with the kneeling controversy that America is completely sick and tired of seeing. Now, here's the tweet he put out. Why is the NFL getting massive tax breaks while at the same time disrespecting our anthem, our flag, and our country? Change the tax law. Can you imagine if you were the head of the NFL, okay, which is a tax-exempt organization? Yeah, they're a nonprofit, apparently, making massive profits, okay? All of a sudden, the President of the United States issues this tweet and says, oh boy, change the law. I mean, those guys probably freaked out because the amount of taxes that they would be liable for, oh man, it would destroy the NFL, okay? So this sent them into an absolute tailspin. Now, regarding the actual NFL rules, regarding the players, we've been reporting on this for some time. The current rules say that players actually must stand. They must stand on the sidelines, be on the sidelines during the anthem. According to ESPN and the manual there, during the national anthem, players on the field and bench should stand at attention, face the flag, hold helmets in their left hand, and refrain from talking. Now, I've stated this before. The rules are in the books, but the problem is the league has yet to enforce these rules. Okay, no player has been fined, no player has been suspended. Now, a new report confirms that NFL owners are actually thinking about changing these rules, which will require players to stand for the anthem. Now, NFL spokesman Joe Lockhart, owners in fall meetings next week to have to chance to discuss anthem issue, look at policy, and need to change it. Okay? So NFL's Joe Lockhart put out that statement. Manual is clear when it says players should stand for the anthem. To date, there hasn't been discipline for those who have chosen not to stand. Now, they state here that the owners now of the NFL are reportedly considering a rule that would make it mandatory for players to stand during the national anthem. And as I just stated, the league spokesman said the owners will be discussing the potential change during a meeting next week. Oh, wow, this is big, big, big news. My friends, when Trump speaks, people listen. Okay? Now, of course, this is why people, you know why they're making this change? Is because, first of all, Trump put out the statement the tax exempt deal would break them, and because the ratings are in the toilet. Okay? NFL TV ratings are down so far. And if that news isn't distressing enough for the biggest ratings driver on TV, the latest slump shows a 2016 season marked by unstable ratings that had pundits and analysts scratching their heads. Okay? Last year, the ratings were bad. Now they're even worse. Man, the NFL is going down fast. And there's nothing that can fix it. This is too little too late, friends. Too little too late. Some people just want to watch football. They don't want to have all the politics. Right? So comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe for updates if you're new. If you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate that. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi. Hold on a second. I am
Elizabeth Line for Democrats. Good morning.
Good morning. A few years ago, I picked up a book in a thrift shop, and it was called Hitler's Propaganda Machine. And they defined what the real big lie is. And I've seen it employed by the right leading up to this last election for probably the last 20 years with the conservative radio and confluence with Fox News and big money put behind people like Dinesh D'Souza. The big lie is that one tells a lie that's so outrageous that no one would believe that you told the lie on purpose. And then when that untruth is withdrawn, the shadow of the lie remains. And that is the playbook for the right in this country and the conservatives. They tried to demonize Barack Obama and Dinesh D'Souza. I live in San Diego. You had an obscure movie about President Obama, and Doug Manchester owned the San Diego Union-Tribune during that election. And there was a front-page article about your little tiny movie bashing Barack Obama leading up to the election. And that's what is really causing one of the problems in our country.
Well, first of all, the movie 2016 Obama's America is the second highest grossing political documentary of all time. It's behind only Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11. So it isn't that obscure. It was in 2,000 movie theaters around the country, for example.
Her point about the big lie, it's almost like she's making some of the same points that you make at the beginning of your book about the big lie, just from the other side. But
right. Now, it's important to realize, because, again, many people think Hitler invented this concept of the big lie, and it's a description of Hitler's propaganda. I point out in the first couple of pages of the book, when Hitler used the term the big lie, he wasn't referring to himself. Hitler's point was that the Jews are the ones who are perpetrating the big lie. So what Hitler was saying is that the Jews are evil, the Jews are wicked, the Jews are trying to take over the world, the Jews are willing to use force to achieve their objectives. So what's really interesting is what Hitler is doing is projection. What Hitler is doing is he's taking all the stuff that he actually did and blaming it on the Jews. And so this is called transference, Freud's term. You take your own sins and you project them onto others. And that's what I think the left does here, because the left has a long secret history of complicity with fascism and Nazism. I'll give us a single example. FDR, progressive saint, icon, hero, sent members of his brain trust to Rome in the 30s to study Italian fascism. Why? He saw it as more progressive than the New Deal. He wanted to bring those ideas here. And Mussolini, for his part, was a huge fan of FDR. Mussolini reviews FDR's book in an Italian magazine. He goes, "This guy's a fascist. It's fantastic. He's one of us." So here's my point. This is real history. It's indisputable. It's in the record. But it's not in the textbooks because the textbooks are written by progressives.
The big lie that you're talking about today, is that being coordinated on some level by who? Are there meetings to coordinate this? Explain how this persists.
We're talking here now we're not talking about a conspiracy at all. What we're talking about is the way in which ideas take hold in the culture. I often thought to myself as I reflect on this book, how do people get to know something that isn't true? How does that happen? Well, the way it happens is the idea begins to circulate very